Fortnite has had more than 30 seasons. Some of them have been loved and some of them have been hated, both for very good reasons. Today I'm going over Fortnite's 7 most loved and 7 most hated seasons to try to figure out what went right or what went wrong. So we're starting with loved season number 1, Chapter 1, Season 4. And I am very much looking forward to this season when it comes back in Fortnite OG later this year, because we didn't get to experience it last year. This is really when Fortnite started to get extremely popular and started peaking in terms of player count in early Chapter 1. It also gave us our first live event, which we will be able to re-experience once it comes back. We got a fantastic battle pass with the Omega skin. The guided missile launcher was also added, a very fun item. And they even added the first vehicle, the shopping cart. I also loved landing at Dusty Divot with the hop rocks, and the map felt a lot more complete compared to the earlier seasons. But we can't forget, this was also Fortnite's first ever collaboration with Marvel. They added Thanos to the game one random morning. You could just grab the Infinity Gauntlet and turn it to him and drop a 30 bomb. This was really a time where you knew Fortnite was a special game because of everything that they were doing with the consistent updates and our first ever collab. And because of that, this is regarded as one of the top 3 seasons of all time. But now it's time to flip the script because we're going to talk about a hated Fortnite season. Chapter 4, Season 3, Wilds. So this was basically Primal 2.0, which, yes, it's also on the list. They added a mud movement thing, but they ended up nerfing it. And the jungle biome was kind of frustrating to fight in. I actually did not like fighting in it. A lot of the trees were getting in the way. There was weird plants. There was a lot of places where you couldn't build properly. And there was just a lot of bushes and people camping in the jungle. We also can't forget that Fortnite basically broke the streak of good kinetic weapons, because Chapter 4, Season 1, we had the kinetic hammer, great mobility, great item in general. Chapter 4, Season 2, we had the kinetic blade and Mega City. But then with Chapter 4, Season 3, we got the kinetic boomerang, which absolutely no one used. Like, this was so bad. It was such a huge step down. I thought for sure you'd be able to throw the boomerang and then like teleport to it or something. It had no mobility and it was very terrible for damage. They also kept the augments, and the augments at this point were very, very watered down. There was the wasp jar, which was one of the most useless items in Fortnite. And the only thing people really remember about this season that was really cool was the addition of the mammoth pistol. It was one of the best weapons ever added to Fortnite. And if they didn't add the mammoth pistol, this season would be even more hated. Now, before I continue this list, I want to say some of you are going to say some of the seasons that were hated that you actually enjoyed them. And that's perfectly fine. All right. I'm going based off of large community sentiment around seasons, and not every season is for everyone. Maybe there's a season that people loved that you didn't love. Maybe there's a season people hated that you actually enjoyed. And that's part of the beauty of Fortnite. So let's get to our second loved season, Chapter 1, Season 2. So we just got this, and it's very clear why this season is loved, because it is a huge upgrade from Chapter 1, Season 1, which pretty much was a barren wasteland. We got tilted towers, we got minis, we got impulse grenades, we got campfires. They're not added yet in the current OG, but we got a lot of different items. We even got our first battle pass with a lot of iconic characters like Black Knight and Sparkle Specialists. This is also when they started adding emotes and dances to the game, and we got one of the most iconic LTMs ever, 50 versus 50. There's not much more to say about this season. Everyone who played it loves it, and a lot of people are enjoying it right now in Fortnite OG. But now it's time for hated season number 2, Chapter 3, Season 4, and this one pains me because my skin did come out during this season. So even though I have a lot of love towards this season and this time in Fortnite, the actual season itself was pretty mid. The chrome idea was kind of cool, but it ended up just being a little bit annoying of a mechanic, and there was a lot of glitches and bugs with it. And then even the chrome weapons was a really cool idea. You'd grab a weapon, and the more damage you did, it would upgrade by itself. That's a cool idea if the guns didn't actually suck. The chrome assault rifle, the chrome shotguns, they were all really bad. And we can't forget how bad the live event was. This is one of the worst live events we've ever had. It was just a cutscene. The entire island exploded, and then afterwards we did some UEFN quest simulator for 45 minutes. Everyone was so confused. Overall, it was a very mid-season, but because of how bad the live event was, people really hated it. But they didn't hate loved season number 3, Chapter 3 Season 1. This was a great start to a Fortnite chapter. We went from the Chapter 2 map, which not a lot of people liked, to a very fresh, almost OG feeling Chapter 3 map. On top of that, we finally got the Spider-Man collab, and they added the Spider-Man Mythic Glove, which worked fantastically. You actually felt like you were playing a Spider-Man game when you were using it. They added a bunch of new features like the tents, the victory crowns, the MK7, our first first-person gun in Fortnite, and overall this season was just very well received with a solid battle pass and a lot of people coming back to the game. And now we move on to hated season number 3. Chapter 5 Season 3 Wrecked. So I appreciate that Fortnite took a big risk with changing the gameplay and focusing on these new vehicles and items. But of course, the risk did not pay off. We saw an all-time low player count shortly after the season launched. There was a lot of people complaining on stream, on social media. The cars were very powerful. The season for me was fun for the first 10 to 15 days, but after that, it got very repetitive, and I was kind of overwhelmed by the amount of overpowered items, from the explosive bow to the nitro in its earliest form was absolutely ridiculous, and the nitro fists as well caused a lot of rage. It was just a very unbalanced season, and it had a decent battle pass, to be fair, and it was a good attempt at changing up the pace of Fortnite. They definitely changed the pace, but for the worse. But I'm not going to blame Epic for trying things, because they very, very quickly pivoted back to what actually worked. So let's talk about something that actually worked. Chapter Fortnite OG. This was Fortnite OG when it first came back. They broke records. They had 6 million average players every single day. The announcement was super hype. It caught a lot of people off guard. And overall, that entire month was just packed with content. We went from Season 5 to Season X in just 4 weeks, with constant updates, constant new items, constant map changes, and a lot of our old friends came back to play Fortnite again. Honestly, this season should have lasted 2 months instead of Chapter 1 Season 1, and I think most people wouldn't have complained if that was the case. People were actually sad when this season ended with the black hole, but they were very happy when the next season ended with a black hole, because the hated season number 4 is Chapter 1 Season X. This was a very controversial season. It was the first season where a lot of people actually were upset with Fortnite, and there was the trend and hashtags going on for Fortnite to fix the game. Fortnite added mechs, and mechs were a way for players to get easy and free wins. They were very powerful. They did a lot of damage, and they killed people in an instant. They also went a little crazy with some of the POIs. They had the Taco Tuesday at Greasy Grove, where you just started dancing, every minute. They had zombies at Retail Row. They had the prop mechanic at Moisty. So the whole map was unstable. They had a bunch of crazy overpowered things like the mechs and crazy overpowered items. Every POI was just kind of had a weird quirk to it, and people were not happy. So when the black hole eventually consumed the season, people were very, very happy to kind of reset and start from scratch. And this is more of a personal thing, but I'm not a big fan of the battle pass for this season, because it is just remixed battle passes from previous Chapter 1 seasons, and I'd rather just they have made fresh or newer items, and I don't really see people rocking this stuff. But that's just my opinion. But now we got to talk about loved season number 5, Chapter 2 Season 4, our first full Marvel season. We had a bunch of awesome Marvel mythics, a full Marvel battle pass. They brought back the pump shotgun. The Stark rifles were great. This was a great time in gaming, and even in the competitive scene, people were having a good time with the trio FNCS. We had a lot of iconic clips from Mongrel, Benji Fishy, Mr. Savage, and to top it off, we were building up hype for the Galactus live event. And even though the event was a little bit underwhelming in terms of how quickly we were able to take down Galactus, 16 million people attended that event, making it the most attended event in Fortnite history, making it one of the most beloved seasons ever and one of the best seasons of Chapter 2. But not all Chapter 2 seasons were loved, because we need to talk about hated season number 5, Chapter 2 Season 1. This was right after Season X. We had a brand new map, but Epic took it a step back, a little bit too far back. They removed almost everything. We went back to our basics, just the pump shotgun, the AR, some minis, some big pots, and some grenades. But the issue was we were okay going back if there was going to be some updates. But this season took 4 months long, and the only update we got was the harpoon being added to the game and a Star Wars collab, which was more of an advertisement. It was just way too bare bones, and people lost interest very quickly. That mixed with some delays, and a lot of people that I personally knew stopped playing during this season and moved on to other games. But now let's talk about loved season number 6, Chapter 1, Season 5. This was an iconic season. This is the season we went back to in Fortnite OG. We added the new desert biome with Paradise Palms, which is a fantastic POI. They even added it to the new reload map. Lazy Links and ATKs were introduced. Kevin the Cube spawned on the map in the middle of a tournament, and we started getting a lot more of the Fortnite lore. A lot of the items and guns that we love today got introduced during this season, like shockwaves, grapplers, and the heavy sniper. They also added toys, which was a fun new mechanic to the battle pass, and we had our first comp events with the summer skirmish, where a lot of your top streamers and creators competed for the first time. Overall, it was a fantastic Chapter 1 season. But now it's time for hated season number 6, Chapter 3, Season 3, Vibin. So this was a vibin season. I don't remember much from it besides the little plants that you put down. You can get loot from them, and they would save from match to match. The POIs, like the reality tree, were pretty to look at, but not that fun to fight at. They vaulted the MK7, which people actually really like the MK7. We also had the 2-shot shotgun, which was just a really bad shotgun. And we had the Charge SMG, which was just one of the worst SMGs or guns, period, that they've ever added. The only redeeming factor this season was that we finally got the Dragon Ball Z collab, which was one of the biggest collabs in the game, and we had Darth Vader in the battle pass, and if you're a Star Wars fan, that's a big deal. Other than that, it was a pretty mid season. But now let's talk about loved season number 7, Chapter 2, Season 2. We finally got the mythic weapons. We have the mythic bosses. They added a bunch of new POIs. The agency, the shark, the grotto, the yacht. It was a really good time. We had a very good collaboration with Deadpool, and the live event with Midas at the end of the season was amazing. We got to see Jonesy in his office. We got the huge tsunami storm for the last few days of the season before going on to Chapter 2, Season 3. And we had an iconic battle pass with characters that people still love to this day. It was so good that Epic decided to give us a Chapter 2 remix season, and the numbers did perform well. Even though it wasn't as hype as the Chapter 1 OG season, it still had over 4 million average players. But now for the final hated season on this list, hated season number 7, Chapter 2, Season 6, Primal. Now the thing is, some people swear they love this season, and that's fine. But for me, the new POIs absolutely sucked. They weren't made for building, and back then there was no zero build. The whole map was like orange. The makeshift weapons were extremely bad, and the primal weapons were either really bad or really overpowered, like the primal shotgun. They added these new mythic boots that you had to do a whole side story mission to get, and once you got them, they were very useless. You had to jump like 3 times just to redeploy. I personally wasn't a fan of the bows. Some people liked them, but to me, they were just very finicky. And I remember a lot of people were complaining about this season on socials. So if people want to rewrite history about some of these seasons, that's fine. I remember, I was there. Let me know if you agree or disagree with this list. Again, this is just my opinion. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you next time.